Welcome to a Global Village TV show today. Your host Ahmed Kasim. Welcome to the city of Brooks, the city of 100 Hollows. We are airing today from JBS Center. We would like to thank JBS Center as well as the city of Brooks providing the space. Here is my co-host Cole, and we have two great leaders of the community, and Mr. Joe Schmidt and Rhonda Henry. So welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Rhonda?
Sure. So my name is Rhonda Henry. I'm a probation officer here in Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here for about 5 years. And I'm a rural girl, so I live out in the country and drive into Brooks to work.
Wow. So what is that probation they do?
Probation. So we have a number of things that we take care of. We work for public safety and emergency services, but under that we're work for the Alberta Justice Department.
Mm-hmm.
So in doing that, basically we supervise people that are in trouble with the law, that have been placed on probation or release programs within the community.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hi. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Corporal Joe Schmidt. I'm with the Brooks RCMP Detachment. I've been posted here for just a little over a year and a half. I'm close to 15 years in the force. I did most of my time in the Lower Mainland in British Columbia, and then took a transfer out here. And right now I'm in the role of doing the operations NCO, so kind of in charge of your day-to-day, all the officers and that sort of stuff, and overseeing, making sure we have resourcing and meeting all the community's needs. So yeah, I live out rural too. I drive in. I like my country time, my me time, and time in the shop, and loving it out here in Brooks. Planning to stay, hopefully finish my career out here. So
Yeah, sounds like a great life you're leading so far.
so far it has its moments.
Yeah, for sure. Probably does.
So how long have you been to Brooks?
Brooks has been a year and a half. I took the transfer out here, and then myself and the whole family transferred out here. Completely different climate, much more small town. I was used to more of the urban, larger community centers of the Lower Mainland, and the more faster paced policing there, but I always wanted to do small town policing in my career. Mm-hmm. I'm glad I got kind of the high adrenaline, fast paced stuff out of my system while I was younger, and then come out here, and I think it just builds you more tools and resources. Mm-hmm. Coming to Brooks is a little bit, it's the same and it's different. Lower Mainland, there's a whole bunch of cultural and ethnic diversity in how we handle things. Mm-hmm. I think that served well coming to Brooks for a small town. We run into a lot of not the same issues, but similar issues. And it just kind of helps with some past experiences that way. But love it out here. Got a great detachment, good management, good members to work with, and the community itself is very pro-police and very helpful with us. So it's been nothing but a good experience so far.
No, that's fantastic. My understanding is also you play guitar.
Yeah, I play. I kind of hack at guitar. I'm better on drums and stuff. I can do okay. I've played my whole family. We're a very musical family. I mean, we weren't the Von Trapps, but like get-togethers and jam sessions and stuff like that. We always played, so I've always been in bands, mostly with my brother and friends for the last 30, 40 years, kind of thing. So we can do all right when it's the right circumstances, but never pursued it professionally and something like that because it doesn't pay. But it's a good hobby.
No, that's good. So Rhonda, any hobby? Not playing guitar?
Not playing guitar, definitely not that. Come from a Western heritage, so my family is involved with rodeo. So been following that for most of my life. So team roper and barrel racer and breakaway roper. My son's a bronc rider and my husband was a saddle bronc rider. So we've been doing that. Gave that up more recently and put away the saddle and purchased a paddleboard. So I've been going to the local lakes, getting to know them and doing some paddleboarding after work. So it's been great. Lots of places around here to go paddleboarding.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never done before. I will try.
I don't have the balance.
And I guess, Rhonda, about a little bit about your career. What was probably the thing you love most about it? Because it sounds like you really have an interesting career.
Yeah, I've been in the Alberta justice system for about 30 years now.
Okay.
worked all over Alberta. And I just really enjoy assisting people and re-engaging in our community. So as people are struggling and having trouble with the criminal justice system, I'm just really enjoying reconnection, finding the resources they need to provide them with support so that they can find a successful life. So it's been a real joy for me throughout my career.
Yeah, and I assume the community probably really appreciates to have something like that as well.
Yeah, I think they do. I think sometimes they don't know what we do or even that we exist. But once they do become involved with us, whether they're a victim or a client or one of our stakeholders, then they have a clear understanding. And I think they do appreciate us and what we do within the community.
Yeah, no, sounds really good.
Okay. So what did you take to achieve this career?
To achieve it, it was something I always wanted to do when I came out of school. It was, I graduated, date myself, I guess mid-90s. And I went to the RCMP. You know, it was always hammered in my head from my uncle and my opa, you know, like you need a good government job and a good secure job and steady. And I went in the mid-90s, and that was when there was a lot of hiring shortages and cutbacks, government spending, that sort of thing. So they weren't hiring very well. So I was like, you know what? I tried. I didn't pursue it as much as I kind of kick myself now that I didn't pursue it more at that younger age. I grew up on a dairy farm out in Abbotsford, so we did farming. We had gravel trucks, and it turned into a gravel truck business, and same thing, horses and rodeo and that sort of stuff. Lived that life. And then in 2008, it's something I was interested in. The economy slowed down with construction and that sort of stuff, and I was looking kind of long term of, now is the time. But I thought, I'm like 30 years old. I'm too old. I'm going to be the old man. Nobody goes into it. It's a young man's game, which I couldn't have been any more wrong. At the time, a family member had started a relationship with an RCMP officer, and he's like, hey, we're hiring like crazy now. You should look at it. I'm like, oh, I'm too big. I'm out of shape on this and that. Got into the process, applied. It took about a year and a day from the time I went to a presentation to the time I was in depot. So just dedicated myself to up at 3 a.m. and working out nonstop and shed a bunch of weight and quit smoking at the time and got into it. And yeah, it was a great decision. It's they call it the front seat to the best show on earth, which is very interpretive on what's best. I mean, you're going to see sights, sounds, and smells you're never going to see anywhere else. But what you get to witness in humanity, good and bad, it's certainly life-changing, and it's excellent. My only regret now is I wish I would have pursued it more when I was younger. But I think coming into it a little bit older gives you much more broader perspective and a lot of skills of 90% of what we do, as opposed to what you see on TV, is it's verbal communication, it's problem solving with people, and you come into that with that mindset. With a little bit more experience under your belt, it certainly pays dividends. I thought I would be the old guy. Most of my troop was all that 28 to 35 range. We had some fellows that were 40, 50 years old. We had the token guy who's 19 and who's going to be wonderfully having a pension when he's like 40 years old and retired. But it's a hard life. It's a different life. But it's what you can take out of it. It's good and bad for both sides, but it certainly gives you some different perspectives on what you're seeing. So,
yeah.
And in your career, Rhonda, what are some of the most difficult challenges you come across just on an everyday basis?
I think on an everyday basis, it's really being front and center to people's struggles. And what people go through in their life is the hardest. It can be a joy when there's success with that, but that is the biggest struggle.
Yeah.
And in different communities, it's so different what that means. Everybody's trauma base is different, so you never know what might be hard for somebody can be easy for others. But I think that is the most difficult thing. And you've got to sometimes seek out the joy when you're having a bad day, because there's small little bites rather than big steps. But after a number of years in this career, I think then you find that and you see that there is a lot of really positives. I think for the most part, people are very resilient and successful. And so we get to see that front line and center when they're coming through our office and we have those successes.
Oh, no, that's awesome. It's probably great to see a person's journey to that success as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And especially when we're in a community over the long term. Like I said, I've only been here for about 5 years, but some of my other career, I was in a community for 15 years, 10 years. So often you really do get to see that growth and that success. And a lot of times those are the ones that come back to our office and check in with us just to say hi. And that's really super important.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the payoffs of the job.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you can see a smile on a client's face, when they're telling you that they've got into college or university, or they've got a new job, or even that they've just gotten sober and made a huge step there. It's really relevant in the world.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rhonda, what might be someone to break the probation, for example, if they violate the probation? What would be the consequences?
Well, we basically have to follow the criminal code. So consequences come from the judge, not from us. We make our recommendations. More often than not, the recommendations we make are in order to help the person. Yeah. So strive for something better. So it can be a real range. If you breach probation, you can be put in jail. You can end up with a fine. Yeah. And then a lot of times we just ask for maybe some changes in their order so that it makes the whole process more successful. You know, often when they've started probation, they're in a very different mindset than they are maybe a year or two later when they're still under our supervision. So a lot of times it's just changing the focus and maybe setting some new goals, and then we can move on from there and try again.
No, that's you guys doing a great job. I think we've been working with your office a long time, so you're doing a great job. So if someone has been told not to leave the town, would they have to get permission if they want to leave the town?
Really depends on how the condition reads. We don't see that condition very often anymore. It used to be more of a standardized condition. Okay. Often what we'll see is can't leave the province without permission. Mm-hmm. And then, it's just a matter of them coming to see us either at their appointment if it's something that's scheduled, or sometimes it's in a family emergency, and then they can stop by the office or phone. Mm-hmm. And there's a standard letter we give them. We usually check into a little bit to make sure they're telling the truth. Yeah. And often, if it's a client we're a little bit worried about, we'll phone the local detachment, say they're going to Saskatchewan or BC or something, and we'll phone out there just to let them know that one of our clients is coming their direction. Okay. And then the interest with here in Brooks, sometimes they're leaving the country because of family emergencies, and we try to help with that as much as we can too. So again, it's often just a written letter, and sometimes they'll bring in documentation that proves what's going on, but more often than not, they're allowed to go.
Yeah, and then communication problem also.
Yeah, 100%.
Some of your clients,
yeah, 100%.
Okay, yeah, Joe, how you build the trust within the community, especially the newcomers population?
I think it's kind of, I think you have to be proactive, getting involved with the community groups. I mean, Brooks is so diverse and unique because like the cultures here, where I was in the Lower Mainland, it's a broader area. There's so many more people. So where the communities sometimes would, lack of a better term, they'd stick together in a certain neighborhood, or a certain sector of business and that sort of stuff. Shopping would be kind of local to their cultures. Here in Brooks, I mean, with the limited options there are for shopping and size and stuff, everybody is, forced isn't the right word, but everybody is now committed to living, shopping, working amongst each other no matter what. You're seeing everybody in the street. So that trust, there is a lot of stereotypes and stuff that go with that, and that's from both ends of, old preconceived thought processes and stuff that is generational here in this region, as well as the newcomers to Canada coming from their countries here as well. There's stereotypes and prejudgment coming on their side of many things, of living amongst a new community, of police, the interactions they had with police, probation, whatever their system is in their home country is vastly different than what it is here. Sometimes very much in not a positive light in any way. Here it's bridging that gap of, you might be able to go out and see one or two people, but for us, it's a communication piece. So we have in Brooks, we have a couple of officers that are just strictly dedicated to the community, working tight in amongst the school with our school resource officers, get in the ground floor with the children, who can communicate a lot of that stuff to the parents, and getting in with like Global Village and certain community groups, and then the leaders of each group to try and identify issues. What can we do on our part to make things easier? How can we, even down to communication, simple things of how we stand, where we place our hands. It has a big impact on how that interaction is going to go. Now, at the end of the day, we have to do our job. We do our job. But how we go about that approach is changed in a lot of ways, where we don't, I wouldn't say tailor to each community, but we certainly consider a lot of their cultural beliefs and preconceived kind of ideas and notions that they come with, and try and incorporate that and just communicate that out. It's getting out to the community events, being visible, trying to go to the workplaces and stuff and seeing what more we can do on our end. Even when it comes down to, again, it's different here. You work with like stakeholders, you work with probation, and they give us a list of conditions for each person. Yes, those conditions are the same a lot of times in how they're laid out. How we go about that might not be the exact same. It's not pandering to everybody, but if we can make everybody's experience in a in a non-preferred setting as best we can, then we're good. Like a lot of times, awesome. Was this the best arrest you've ever had? And they'll turn around and say yes. And I'm like, okay, I'll take that win. So it's just, it's not always negative. But when it is negative, it's how to communicate within that community themselves to try and have the best interaction possible, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's good, because I think building the trust between the newcomers and police, I think, extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
Though some of the newcomer population, because of their home country problems that they face back home, that trust is not there because it has been broken by countries they came from. But the racial profiling is another issue. Mm-hmm. So they feel they've been racial profiling. So when racial profiling comes into play, it will be difficult for the police to build that trust. You can have both ways. Mm-hmm. So the racial profiling, which is common through North America and Europe and everywhere, building the trust takes time.
Yes.
Yeah, it takes time, and you guys are doing a great job. But what would you see the role of the community to help in terms of building that trust?
I think for us, and I'll be honest, we get it a lot of times. We get an individual who's, driving without a supervised driver, class 7 driver, that sort of thing. And a lot of times, we face it where we'll pull this person over because they're driving on with a supervisor, and we get you only pulled me over because of the color of my skin. This is being racist. No, we're just doing our job, and I ran your plate, and this is what it is. And a lot of times, in a lot of circumstances, our officers don't have time to get into a lengthy explanation. And although I'm busy at work, I go to the front counter as much as I can when those complaints or concerns come in. And, my son, he was racially profiled. He was pulled over because of this. Well, actually, no, he wasn't. He was pulled over. He was dealt with because X, Y, and Z. Sometimes we'll have to stop a person that has a different skin color because if we get a report of, hey, this person came into my, beer and wine store, and they're a Caucasian male, 40 years old, wearing a blue jacket. Well, I'm not going to go stop a person that doesn't match that description. If they give me the other description, I'll pull over. So it's always a fine line and a hard line for us to walk of like, we have to do our job. This is the information we have. I tell the new guys and the guys who come, like, you're not going to change that mentality in that moment. However, sometimes a follow-up phone call can go a long way. If you're not getting any satisfaction with that person because their emotional state, and quite frankly, they're just mad at you at that moment, probably not the best time to try and solve that. But if you can go through some of the relationships we've built and established through you guys, through other community agreements, and seek out like, hey, we had an issue with this one person here. We know they're related to so and so. Can we talk to because we want to try and nip this in the bud. And it sometimes it doesn't work out, but the fact that you're willing to even make that effort seems to get respected and carry away. And that just takes a long time to build. And I've come into it now where there's some longstanding members here who have seen it generationally. You're seeing the second, third round of new Canadians that have come to Brooks and stayed in there, and how that mentality is changing and they see it. So it's a work in progress, but it's it's hopefully, it just takes time, like everything.
So if you've been told, look for a 40-year Caucasian, you're not going for a black guy. You're not looking for a black guy.
Absolutely not. If we do stop talking to him, it'd be, hey, did you see a 40-year-old Caucasian guy wearing a blue jacket? No. Okay, good. Thank you very much for your time. Conversely, if somebody's for somebody who's
guy,
absolutely, I'm not pulling over,
guy.
80-year-old grandma who's sitting there too. It's but it's hard to wrap people around it because you're fighting generations of injustices and bad experiences.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying not to paint everything with a broad brush, but that's easy to say and hard to do. So
no, well, yeah, understood. Yeah, that's the visible minorities have a length of experience when it comes to a policing. So building that trust is always extremely important. I've been stopped by one of the RCMP officers a couple of years ago, and because the plate of my car was expired. Mm-hmm. And she said, you know why I stopped? I said, no, I have no idea. And she said, the plate's expired. I said, well, definitely it's my responsibility and it's my fault, no one else. She said, you don't know what? I will let you go. Simply being honest. So sometimes people are human, you just speak from the truth. It's not anybody's fault. You can blame your wife, your family member, anybody else. But if you take the responsibility, they will usually give you the break. Yeah. So, yeah. Good.
For Rhonda, considering you've been in like your career for a considerable amount of time, what was something that you would like today yourself tell probably your younger self first month or first year on the job kind of thing, and like what that kind of branch and like what would be most important and vital for that younger self?
Yeah, you learn a lot over this many years, that's for sure. And looking back, a lot of times it makes my heart stop because in this field and in any new field, you make mistakes. And in our field, we're dealing with human beings and with people. And so thank goodness for the grace of the people that I was working with back then, because, mistakes were made. And I think it would just be to be patient, to learn as much as you can from whoever in the community you're working with and the stakeholders and the people that live there. I've worked in very many different communities, and you really have to look at where you're working and see what their needs are and go from there. But the biggest things is to have grace and have patience, and you survive through empathy of the people that you're working with. And I think that is something that will get you through any storm is having empathy.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely important for like people on the receiving end of when you're dealing with people to actually like understand that you may be new to this, or give you, you might be having a day to actually, the human connection type of thing. If you kind of take away all the circumstances and understand that, you might be making a mistake this one day and stuff, and kind of even they might be going through their trauma and stuff, just kind of allow for that, human connection or awareness,
Absolutely. That is so important. And often, while we have to set professional boundaries, I often remind anybody that comes in my office, especially at this point in my career, that I've been in it for a very long time and have seen a lot, and that we're not there to judge their behavior. We're there to help them get better when they want to get better, or at least get to a better place. So, the communication is so, so important. And we're not the judge. They've already been before the judge. We're here to do a different job and to help them with their conditions and to help them be successful. So that's really the most important thing that we can do. And you have to be human to do that and treat people like they are all human, no matter what the circumstances they come from.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, we always say empathy, not sympathy.
Yep.
Yeah, empathy goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, you want to tell us a little bit about the process of someone to join the RCMP?
For us, right now, we're heavily recruiting, actively recruiting. Every police force across the globe right now is facing resourcing issues. We're no different. It's the global market in the last few years isn't exactly shown overly favorable in our light. So it's hard getting people in. So we're actively recruiting. So social media is a huge drive for us. We can stop by any of the RCMP detachments. We have pamphlets, that sort of thing, posters. Essentially, the steps are you show an interest, either come and see us, type in a file or something in the shopper's parking lot, pop on over, walk over and wave, say hello first, don't go running up to the car. But go talk to any of us when we're out there. Ask how you can join. A lot of us are carrying recruiting pamphlets, which shows you the website. Essentially, the process right now is there's a lot of scheduled presentations ongoing through Southern Alberta, through all of Alberta, Canada. Every major city's having one. Sometimes they're online as well. You go to one of those presentations. Essentially, it's a advertisement for us. This is the 154 awesome, cool jobs you get to do. This is the cool stuff you get to wear, and that these are some of the benefits, some of the perks, and this is some of the struggles and challenges. And it's not easy. And these are the areas in which we go. So they do a fairly good job of advertising what the job is. Once you do that, you can schedule yourself for an entrance exam. It's an aptitude test. Right now, our main requirement is a grade 12 or GED equivalent education. Back in the day, you had to be, 5'7" and this tall, and gone is all the kind of we hire all shapes and sizes. There's a mandatory physical testing that you do have to pass once you go to depot. But you essentially, once you pass your aptitude test, they'll reach out to you, send you an application package. We do, I think it's on a case-by-case basis, but the polygraph is there, so lie detector test. And yeah, they do background checks, security clearance, employment checks, financial checks, that sort of thing. And then you go to, if you're lucky enough to make it through that, you go to depot for 6 months, which is in Regina. So I know when I came through, 1 out of 13 applicants were making it through. Wow. I think those numbers are up a little bit now. But we've also broadened. Before you could only join if you're a Canadian citizen. Now you just have to be a landed immigrant, like permanent immigrant status, and you're able to join as well. You don't have to be just Canadian citizen. So yeah, we're trying to expand things out as much as we can, get as much culture as we can into.
And don't have any criminal record?
No criminal record. You can have instances. I mean, we're all humans. We all make mistakes. You learn from them. Was I an angel? Mm-hmm. No. Dare I say I was probably in the back of a police car or two in my teenage years for my, ill decisions at the time. But what we want to know is that you learn from them. Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes their decisions. But are you doing it repetitive? Are you learning from it? Are you going to be a person who's going to compromise any kind of security or safety? As far as criminal records and stuff like that, it's a varying thing. There's criminal convictions, and then there's criminal records where there's a state of proceedings, not enough evidence, something like that withdrawn. Would that preclude you 100%? No. It's the recency. Did this happen in 1985 when I was 19? We can overlook that. You've learned from that mistake, So, my recruiter told me, if we were hiring angels, we'd be sitting outside heaven's gates. And he goes, that ain't happening. So he's like, we need all broads and spectrums of people joining us too. So
there you go.
Rhonda, so what is probably some advice you can just give to the average youth regarding starting their career and dreams, just relating to any sort of career?
Anything?
Yeah.
First of all, because of the kids that I've worked with and also being a mom, I would say finish high school, please, when you're in high school. So often the people that come through our office, that's their number one barrier, is that they didn't finish high school. And then they have to go back and start there, before they can fulfill their dreams. So I think that is the most important thing that I would wish on anybody. And I think the second thing that I would say is being a volunteer, being part of your community. If you have an interest or a passion, get out there and look into it while you're young and see whether it's something that you're going to love. You've got lots of time to choose that career that's going to last forever, or if you change your careers 100 times, it doesn't matter. But go out and seek out your passion and see if it's something. Often, like the RCMP or even our field, it's not just being a police officer or being a probation officer. Alberta Justice has other things that you can do. You can work in the jail system, that sort of thing, adult, young offender, different diversities that are out there now, and same with being a member. So I think it's really important to seek that out. And volunteerism is the best way to do that. There's almost everybody has some type of a volunteer program, and we'll take same thing. People of all ages can come in and work with people and see if it's something that you're going to love. And if not, move on, find that passion. Don't stick with something you don't like. Life is way too short. Yeah.
Wow. That's very powerful. Thank you very much, Rhonda. Yeah, I think that is that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do something yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. No. And there's lots of barriers out there, but get beyond them. Find out how you can get around them. Move on. Often people think when they're involved with us that that's the end of it. That they can't get past that, and it's something that we're there to help with, and we want everyone to get past it. So let's do the best we can to get there.
You want to be someone to be a good citizen and be productive in society.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you've got to be out there and involved to do that.
Okay.
Good citizens aren't sitting at their kitchen table. They're out there helping people and helping everyone.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. Joe, last question. What would the community can help in terms of public safety?
Report what you see. As far as, and it's varying in different communities and cultures, where a lot of times things don't get reported to us. Whether it's pride, whether it's, their past experiences where they've reported these things and it didn't land well, or they weren't allowed to report these things and it drew negative attention to them. It's different here. Report what you see. If things are bad at home or concerning or presenting risk, let us know. We're going to do everything we can. We're going to work with everybody we can to try and make things better. If you try and handle it yourself, well, now you're putting yourself in a position to where, you could now be, on the other end of the stick where, you're receiving a punishment or having a consequence for your actions. So reach out and help. I mean, I do encourage, we have a no call too small policy for that. I mean, if you're having a neighbor dispute over a fence or something like that, or somebody's warming up their car, have enough faith in humanity to be able to go talk with that person and have a conversation with them. Everybody has their bad days. Everybody has their chance to be able to solve an issue on a solvable level. We get people who phone us for every little thing, which is fine. You're encouraged to do that, but we do encourage a little bit, a bit of proactive. That's saying anytime there's a public risk, anytime there's a safety issue, something that's concerning, or you hear of something, by all means, let us know. We're going to work with you when we can. As far as the community with us, the struggles we see is when we go into certain communities, there's a resistance or a reluctance to want to cooperate with us. We're going to tell you just enough information so you can't really do anything with it, but we're just going to leave you that there. And it's we need buy-in from you in order, the old, help me help you. That's exactly where we're at. We have programs for people who don't think they have anywhere else to turn or a place to go or believe they're tied to a family situation or a home. We have lots of resources out there. We have numerous partners that we can work with to try and arrange the best for you. So don't let fear ever hold you back from working with us. Work with us, but be cooperative with us, and try and assist us as much as you can, because that's the only way we can really help. We have programs as far as surveillance video. There's a list in the city of Brooks that you can put your surveillance cameras on, and you know what? Nothing is a better witness than video footage, and we're getting some good community support from that. So if you're noticing a spike in property crime or auto theft or issues in your neighborhood, and you have cameras, register them with us. We can't have access to your cameras. We don't look at them, but we know the location and that you're able to provide us that video should we need it. So it's they're great eyes, and just be of service to each other in that community. Work for your neighbor. It might not be a person that you're normally associated with or that you normally interact with, but you know what? paying for that coffee in front of that person in the line, or doing a little bit, or even a friendly wave, or rather than pulling up to the light at the same time and fingering each other because we can't decide who goes first, stop and wave the next person through. Like, be of service to the community, and you'll get that service back through you. And it's an old way of thinking, but it'd be nice to come back to that, to where the community as a general is everybody's responsible, not just 2 or 3 people doing heavy lifting, and we have a whole bunch of good ideas and people sitting on the outskirts, and this is the way I would have done it if I ever had motivation to do it. Well, get up and do it, that sort of thing. So
what, in other words, what you're saying is a code of silence is not good.
Code of silence only makes things worse, in my opinion. Get it out there, get it helped. It's so much easier to deal with an incident in its infancy than letting it turn into this big brewing mess in a pot, where by the time it lands on our lap, somebody's hurt, somebody's injured, somebody's dead. Let's get it on the ground floor. And even working with probation and stuff, and Rhonda sends us a list of here's the fellows who are on probation, here's their conditions. We'll find it. We get more buy-in with these with some of the people if we're there on an ongoing, regular basis with them. They're used to it. Mm-hmm. They trust us. We go there. When we leave things and don't necessarily want to do it, and we're only showing up in rare instances or trying to, instill conditions at a certain time, only once or twice, then we get resistance to it. And it's because we've let that issue grow, whether it's time that we just don't have to be able to go there. But that kind of same adage works in the community too. If you're involved and you're out there and you can deal with a small issue at a small time and have familiarity with people and working with them, you get much more buy-in than letting it just fester and blow up.
Well said. Thank you very much, Joe. If there is anything that we can help, please don't hesitate to let us know. Public safety is everybody's business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to take also any way and shape that we can help you guys to make your life simple and to make the public safety good. And Brooks and County of New is one of the best places that you can live.
Mm-hmm.
Agree.
Absolutely. We'll take any help we can get.
Yeah,
I'm sure you guys as well too.
Exactly.
I was told to say that by Mayor John.
He's a smart man.
Yeah. So but I think you guys do a great job for the community, and we hope to see you again. And again, I think you sacrifice yourself for the betterment and prevention of crimes in the community and public safety, and that's something that is very noble.
Thank you. And thank you guys for always willing to have an open door to work with us and same with your organization. Yeah. I think there's a lot more good that comes out of it than bad, and the service you guys provide and the communication piece that you guys portray out to your communities and in the cultures and stuff where we just wouldn't have that opportunity just pays dividends with us. So thank you guys.
No, thank you very much. And today we had a fantastic gang here.
Thank you.
Cole, who is also high school. From the high school, I believe you are
grade 12 last year. Yeah, the Brooks Composite High School.
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And he wants to be a filmmaker, director.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into somewhere in that field, but we'll see if the director thing works out. But anywhere with writing or cinematography or producing and stuff like that. So we'll have to, like you said, the volunteering. So I need to get in there to go figure out what positions are available and what would be worth doing and stuff. So I'm just trying to do all that now while I'm young.
Yep.
So
good for you.
Really excited for it.
Yeah. Just remember us little people when you make it huge.
No, I will.
Hey, we know that name.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I definitely will.
That's awesome. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is part of our commitment to encourage the youth to join and be able to co-host and be part of the program and feel that confidence building measures for them also.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
no, it's great.
Yep.
You did a great job too, Cole.
Thank you.
Great questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Thank you very much, Joe, as always.
It, as always.
Thanks, Rhonda.
You betcha.
Yeah,
Very
thank you
nice
very
to
much.
see you again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you too.
Great job.
I'd get up, but I'm still
Very
hooked
nice.
into my chair.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Okay. This is the end of the program, Global Village TV show today. And we thank both Rhonda and Joe for their time coming to the program. And hopefully we will see you next time soon. And thank you very much, Cole, for doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And this is the end of the program, and I hope you guys enjoyed for the day. Until then, we'll see you next time, and God bless everyone.